If you receive Social Security benefits or if you're expecting to file for the first time soon, there is something important happening right now that you really need to understand. The Social Security Administration is going through a significant transition. And honestly, there's both good news and bad news here. The good news is that what they're doing should have been done years ago. The bad news is that the transition is going to be rough for a lot of people, and it already is. So today we're going to walk through exactly what's happening, what it means for your check, and what you need to do right now to protect yourself. Let's start with the big picture. The SSA is moving to a new national verification system. People who have worked inside the agency for years will tell you straight up, this change is long overdue. The idea is to centralize how documents and identity verification are handled across the country. That part is good. The problem is the rollout, and layered on top of that, the agency is already operating with a significantly reduced workforce. Reports indicate that roughly 7,000 employees were cut from the agency in recent months. Customer service at Social Security was already at a 50-year low before those cuts happened. Now it is considerably worse. So you are dealing with a necessary system upgrade happening at the worst possible time with the fewest possible staff to manage it. That combination is what is causing delays right now, and it is likely to continue for at least several more months. So, what does this actually look like in practice? If you need to bring documents to a Social Security office, whether you're filing for retirement benefits, disability benefits, Medicare, a new Social Security card, or anything else that requires in-person verification, here's the most important thing to understand about how the new system works. Think of it like the final scene of Indiana Jones, where they take the Ark of the Covenant and wheel it into a massive government warehouse. Your documents go into a centralized national system somewhere in the country. They are there, but if you call Social Security afterward and ask about them, the representative may tell you they can't find them. That doesn't mean they're lost. It means the system is still being figured out, and tracking documents across this new national infrastructure is not yet smooth. That is the reality right now. Because of this, when you go to your local office, never leave your original documents. Have the SSA employee make copies and make sure those copies are stamped to confirm they've been reviewed and verified. Then take your originals home with you. That step alone can save you a tremendous amount of frustration. If something gets misplaced in the system, you still have your originals and can go back. If you hand over your original birth certificate or passport and it disappears into that warehouse, you have a much bigger problem on your hands. Now, let's talk about appointments, because this is another area where people are creating their own delays without realizing it. When you go online to schedule an appointment with SSA, you'll notice that wait times for certain appointment types can stretch out for weeks or even months. So some people do what seems logical. They look for an earlier opening under a different benefit category, schedule that, then go back and schedule another one under the correct category, and sometimes schedule multiple appointments across different categories just to get in sooner. This creates a serious problem for the entire system. It clogs up the appointment calendar and means real people who need those slots can't get them. It also means when you finally get in, you may be sitting across from the wrong person entirely. This brings up something that most people outside the agency don't know. Social Security employees are not all the same. There are generalists who handle general inquiries, but then the agency is primarily divided along two major lines. There are Title II employees who handle retirement benefits, survivor benefits, Medicare, Social Security disability insurance, and spouse benefits. And then there are Title XVI employees who handle SSI, Supplemental Security Income, which is a needs-based welfare-style program. Those are two completely different areas of expertise. A Title 16 employee who handles SSI does not necessarily know retirement benefits, Medicare, or surviving spouse calculations. So if you schedule an appointment for retirement and you end up in front of a Title 16 representative, they may not be able to help you at all, and you've now wasted both your time and theirs. Right now, with the new self-scheduling system and reduced staff, this kind of mismatch is happening more and more. Make sure when you schedule that you are scheduling for the correct benefit type and confirm it when you arrive. One more thing worth addressing: the government shutdown question. You may have seen news about federal shutdowns and airport delays and government services going dark. Social Security is not in that category. SSA employees are considered essential workers. People depend on those checks to live. They need to enroll in Medicare. They need Social Security cards to work. The agency does not shut down the way other federal departments might. If there is a shutdown, the SSA may pause some non-essential services, like providing detailed work histories for loan or background check purposes. But core benefit services continue, so your check is not at risk because of a government shutdown. The delays you're hearing about right now are coming from staffing cuts and the system transition, not from a shutdown. Now, here is a real-world example of how these system issues affect actual families, and it comes from a situation that illustrates something important. A woman, let's call her Natalie, had 2 children receiving Social Security survivor benefits on their deceased parents' record. Children can receive benefits up to age 18 or beyond if they became disabled before age 22. Each child was receiving approximately $1,300 per month, which represents 75% of the deceased parent's full benefit amount. That's the standard rate for surviving children. But here's what Social Security missed when those children's claims were originally processed. There is a benefit called Child in Care benefits. If you are the surviving parent or caretaker of children who are receiving Social Security survivor benefits and you are not working above the annual earnings limit, which this year is $24,080, you may also be entitled to benefits on that same record. The SSA employee at the time never asked about this. They dropped the ball. It was eventually caught and she was contacted, but this is not an isolated case. These errors happen regularly and most people never know to ask. Here's how the math works in a situation like this, and it's important to understand because it affects how much everyone in the family receives. Social Security has what's called a family maximum, an internal cap on the total amount that can be paid out on any one person's earnings record. The abbreviation internally is FMAX. The reason for the cap is straightforward. If someone passes away and has 10 children, you can't have each child receive 75% of that person's benefit. The numbers would be unsustainable. So the SSA calculates a family max based on that person's work record and divides the total accordingly. In Natalie's case, the family max appears to be around $3,000 per month. With 2 children each receiving $1,300, that's $2,600 total. When child and care benefits are added for the mother, all 3 now receive approximately $1,000 each, still totaling $3,000, still within the family max. The children's individual payments go down, but the total household income goes up by $400 per month. That matters. It's always worth filing for child and care benefits, even if it slightly reduces the children's individual checks, because the overall family income increases. When you're in a situation like this and a Social Security representative gives you numbers, there are 2 things you should always verify. First, is the PIA correct? The PIA, primary insurance amount, is the base benefit amount calculated from the worker's lifetime earnings record. It determines everything else. If that number is wrong, every benefit calculated from it is also wrong. Second, is the family maximum correct? Ask them to walk you through both numbers. If you know what the PIA is and you know the family max, you can do the math yourself and cross-check what they're telling you. And if last year's earnings haven't been posted yet, which can happen when someone passes away recently, that may still increase the benefit amount once those wages are recorded. Always ask whether any recent earnings are still pending. So, let's bring this all together. The Social Security Administration is making a long overdue upgrade to its national system. In the short term, that means documents are harder to track, appointments are taking longer, and there is a real risk of being seen by the wrong type of representative. The workforce cuts have made all of this significantly more difficult. The agency is not shut down, but it is operating under serious strain, and that strain is being felt by real people trying to get benefits they are owed and have paid into their entire working lives. The things you can do right now are clear. Set up your My Social Security account at ssa.gov if you haven't already. Never leave original documents at an SSA office. Always get stamped copies back. Schedule your appointment under the correct benefit type and confirm it. If you're a surviving parent with children receiving benefits, ask specifically about child and care benefits. And if the numbers you're being given don't feel right, ask for the PIA and the family maximum so you can verify the math yourself. This situation is going to evolve over the coming months. There is already pressure from multiple directions on the agency to clarify how it is protecting vulnerable beneficiaries during this transition. Whether that leads to any formal policy changes, we will have to wait and see. I will keep watching it closely, and I will update you as things develop. What do you think about what's happening at Social Security right now? Are these changes worth the short-time pain, or do you think the rollout has been handled poorly? Let me know in the comments. I read all of them, and your experience matters not just to me, but to everyone in this community who may be going through the same thing.